Hi, welcome and welcome back. Ooh, we here, y'all. Before we get into anything, bear with me, podcast. I am a girl with the locks. I just want to say thank you to every person who has listened to this show. In the last 7 days, the pod been doing numbers. Like, who knew me sharing my story would travel as far as it's traveling? I say that because I'm looking at the YouTube numbers. Last week is my highest viewed episode, and I'm appreciative. Um, I'm appreciative of anybody who talked about it to somebody else and then sent the link, shared the link, reposted the link. Like, I am thankful. I'm super, super thankful. Never did I think that sharing my story would have the impact that it's had thus far. So a part of me like wish that I could have stayed and fought the good fight because again, I've wanted to be a teacher since I was 5 years old. And I used to think that I was going to be one of those 30 plus year teachers, but that's not what my journey ultimately ended up being. And if anything, I think that me having taught the families and students that I've taught and worked within an administration that I did, I feel like that has shaped who I am. And they say like the job is still you are still effective in your job even if you like changed one person. And I know for a fact that it's been more than one. I appreciate this entire journey. Like it was kind of the way things kind of like fell out or just ended. Because I won't say fall out. Because again, it's no bad blood. Like I ain't really like how you move, but we good. We good. Wipe my hands of it. All done. But I, what was I going with that? Don't know. Okay, and we're done. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. So I will just state again: like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Bear With Me podcast found and available on all major platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, no, Samsung Podcasts, uh, Pandora, iHeartRadio, just wherever you like to listen. But you listening right now, so I know you know where to go. And I thank you again. All right. If you are tuning in for the first time, I strongly encourage you to go back and listen to Yeah, Something Ain't Right because you can really truly get involved with the second half once you done heard the first half. Just jumping into the second half, if that's your business, and go ahead and come on and listen. But if you really want to get a full scope of the entire, you might want to go back. All right. So I am starting off after the meeting that it was determined now you need a growth plan. I want to take a pause because there was something that I did not say in the last one that impacted that meeting where it was determined I need a growth plan. And so I want to share something else. So we was in that meeting, that was January 13th, and it was the value about or the bucket about values and feedback. It was said that I didn't give feedback in the best way. And I was like, well, where did this come from? And so the director was like, oh, yeah. So, like last week when we were meeting, you had said like you wanted to make sure that we meet every week. And I was like, okay. And she was like, yeah, like just in that moment, like it just didn't like that was something that I would have preferred that be like a one-on-one conversation, not in the meeting with a full group. And I was like, okay. So let me just paint the picture of how that happened. We were meeting. It was the first day back because again, it was district wide contents, then campus, and then the rest of the school week. So, like, yeah, that was the first time I didn't seen her since she been gone. And so we all getting back into the swing of things and she getting caught up in this, that, and the third. And so we're in the meeting and she's like, yeah, so like how have things been? Da da this, da da that, woo woo. And I was like, things have been okay. One thing that I noticed is that I think we could really benefit by making sure that we have um weekly meetings and we just hold that time and space because of this MTSS that they're rolling out and everything. Like, so just making sure that we have that space to meet as a team and da da da. Like, I wasn't nasty, like, we ain't met all year and you don't be doing this and it was nothing, never nasty, y'all. Like, that's the part that I feel like I'm getting re upset. Relax. But that's the part that kind of really bothered me because in that meeting, when it was like, oh, I would have appreciated it being a one on one, I was just like, we're all in the meeting and we're talking about how things have been without you. And I'm sharing that now that you're back, I want to make sure that we meet with you as a collective. So, okay. So I had to eat that on January 13th when I was said. Now it is January 14th. So now we about to roll out this growth plan. All right, bet cool. So we in a meeting and I am reading everything. We rolling it out. And y'all, when I tell y'all just like not enough time was allotted for me to kind of process. And I honestly feel like that was on purpose for me not to be able to rebuttal because I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to advocate for myself. Who gon' fight for me? Nobody. If I can't fight for myself, who gonna fight for me? So we are in the meeting. So they scheduled the meeting at 3:40 on January 14th to go over this growth plan. So you didn't gave me only one night to kind of stew over all this. So as fast as my brain can process and assess everything, I'm like, okay, I gotta have some questions. So I'm looking at the support plan when after the meeting while I'm at home and just kind of like thinking and processing everything that was said and everything. And I'm looking and I'm like, it's a lot of green on this paper. It's a lot of green. The only yellow is the GLC coaching and feedback meetings and stuff. And again, when I was in the meeting on the 13th, I said I didn't get guidance on what to do. Also, let's just remind ourselves what happened to the meeting of the minds? Me, interim, director, and principal. What happened to that meeting? Interesting. So I'm looking like we finna go to a growth plan, but I'm literally trending to get off. Okay. Then I'm over here like, hmm, something else don't feel right because as an admin, I'm privy to teachers that are on support or growth plans. And there are a couple of teachers out of the history of me working for this district, they've been on support or growth plans longer than this 3 weeks that I was given. So now we going from a 3 week support plan straight to a growth plan. We and so I even still, y'all, gave because I'm gonna always hold me accountable. I even still gave the benefit of that I say with maybe because you're a leader, you don't get that extra extension that other teachers might get. You had 3 weeks to make it enough, and it wasn't enough. I'm just like, but I'm like, nah, nah. I'm hearing me, but I'm also like, I don't know. So, but I say, okay, whatever. So it's the 14th, and I'm in the meeting. We getting ready to go over it. So then I simply asked, I said, why wasn't there a potential extension? Because I'm trending. And I had asked a whole bunch of questions kind of leading up to that. But she was just like, you're just not meeting your growth. So this is the next step. I said, okay. Then I don't remember what was said or like what the conversation was in this. And she was like, you're looking for a lot more structure And the growth plan is now going to give you that. And I'm like, it was structured in a support plan. So I didn't have, because it was something about like how I was being evaluated was my question or concern. And so I'm like, I don't really got no questions about that. Like I think the fact that I was pushing back on the support plan and it kind of gave flexible, and we needed some hard cuts. So I think that's why we rolled out with that's why we ended up with the growth. So again, remind y'all it's 3:40 and we rolling out this growth plan. School day end at 4. So I'm just like, you think we finna put my job on the line in 20 minutes? Tsk, you got the wrong one. No ma'am, no ham, no beef, no pork. No. So we sitting there and we're going over it. And so we gotta read the intro. Y'all, the intro specifically states failure to meet could potentially result in termination of the 24-25 school year, or resignation, or whatever word they use, of the 20, or ask not to be returned for the 25-26. I say, wait a minute, I'm reading, shooketh, okay? You're telling me that if I don't hit these numbers by February 11th, I could leave today, or if I could leave February 12th. I said, no, 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 this can't happen. What? That's crazy. That's crazy. So I'm nerved up. So we read that, and she say, we good? And I say, yeah. So then so no, 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 no. She read it out loud. I'm like, okay. And then I'm going over some more little parts here and there, because now once you put my job on the line, I'm nitpicking. Like, I'm finna comb through everything. I don't play about my coin. I don't play about my coin. So we sitting there, and so she finished reading. I say, I'm still reading. She said, okay. I said, okay, I'm ready. So then we going over. Now it's the same thing as the support plan. It's just now the growth plan. So this then been approved by people in HR/talent, and everybody had to sign off on the execution of this support plan. I mean growth plan. Go through bullet one, yeah, bucket one, bucket two. We go through all of it. So then we get into the calendaring again, because you guys, I was I was unclear about how I was being evaluated. So, like, you're telling me at the next meeting, we're looking at my previous week, or we're looking at my upcoming week, or are we looking at both? And so we had a moment where we had to like work that out. I said, okay, can I get that in writing? She was like, yeah, I'll include that in the email. I said, okay. But I honestly wanted it in the tracker that we had, because that's what we looking at to make sure that we following. Woo, woo, woo. So then we go through everything. And so now it's time for me to ask questions. I said, is there any reason why, if I was trending, any reason why there wasn't an extension of the support plan? And she's like, no, you weren't meeting expectations. So the next step was to go to a growth plan. I said, okay. I said, also, I'm noticing there are 3 business days extra than the support plan. If I was in the support plan and didn't meet my numbers, why are we rolling out a growth plan with just 3 more extra days, or 3 more additional days? And she was like, well, we start hiring in February. And so we need to see where you are. What? What? I said, I want to be here. And we want you to be here too. But we have, pause, time out. If you want me to be here, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Y'all, I can't make this stuff up. So I'm sitting there. I say, here we go again. Shorty just told me we start hiring in February. So you need to know if you need to start posting that job. Okay. So let me just roll out the details. And I'm gonna just tell y'all right now, I'm already knowing that this episode finna be longer than 30 minutes. So for anybody who watched from beginning to end, thank you for your viewership. Thank you for your listening ears. And if you don't, all right, see you later. It was fun. See me next Tuesday with the next episode of whatever that's gonna be. But anyway, so we talk about the timeline. So now I'm gonna break down the timeline. So January 14th was the start. That was another thing I had a question about. I say, any reason why we're starting it today when this day is pretty much over? Because it's 3:45, 3:50, 3:55. I'm not gonna tell y'all no lies. Because you finna put my job on the line, I need time to process and ask questions and ask questions. 4 o'clock hit, I still got questions. We going back and forth. 4:10 hit, I still got, and all throughout the time they like, um, well, just to honor everybody's time, to honor everybody's time. Sweetie, we didn't think about that before we came in here and asked me 20 minutes before the bell was finna ring what time was. Like, you was hoping that I wouldn't say nothing and I wouldn't ask for questions. So you wanted to try to fit this life-changing document in a 20-minute time and not give me no time to process. Bet. So I asked, I was like, any reason why it's starting today and not tomorrow, seeing as though the day is almost over? Oh, well, uh, growth plans start the same day that they're rolled out. Okay, bet, fine, cool. I said the whole part about the 3 days extra. She said what she said. So then we left out of that meeting at 4:17. Okay. Sent the email with the little clarity about around the calendar and everything like that. Bet. So some days go by, and so I'm on my way driving home. I said, with it's getting real now. I said, you're going to have to work at home. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. Like, your job is on the line. If this one thing you're going to do is show up and show out. And I hate the way I felt because it made it seem and it made me feel like everything that I was doing for the last year and a half was not it or not enough. And if it's one thing I do, I show up for my job. So even in September and October, when it was challenging and kids were fatigued and all these different things, I still made sure that I did my best. I still stayed after school with kids to go to support their volleyball games, basketball games. I still did what I needed to do. Like, you can't say that I didn't do. And this plan made it seem like I was not doing. And I really had to just come to terms, okay, for whatever reasons, you're not all green. You need to be all green. Let's get all green. So the rest of that week happened. So on that Friday, the comment about the feedback was very much in my ear. Oh, I just felt like that was feedback that could have been one-on-one. And I'm just like, okay, with you need to go and apologize. So on Friday, can't remember what part of the day was. I was like, hey, I just been thinking and reflecting about your your statement about the feedback. And I was like, I apologize. It was not meant to be offensive or just like whatever. Like, I'm sorry for how you felt about that. I just was just sharing that I wanted us to meet more. She was like, "Yeah, yeah, I get that. It was just like my first day back and it was a lot and so I just felt overwhelmed and yeah, so but I appreciate you. I appreciate you for apologizing." So, I walked away from that conversation like, "You're upset or you felt the way because it's your first day back and I said I want us to meet, and now you feeling a type of way. I'm you're the director. Like, you felt overwhelmed. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna discount your feeling of overwhelmment, if that's a word. However, the way in which I delivered that and said that, like, ain't nothing wrong with that, and I don't know. But you know what? Perception is reality, and I have to sometimes remind myself of that. But like, baby girl, what? Okay. I honestly felt like that was a made up feedback because you probably didn't have anything negative to say. But whatever. Okay. So that's the rest of that first week. Oh, I missed the part apart. So in the details, the initial plan rolled out January 14th. There would be a midpoint check January 29th, and then there would be a closeout on February 11th. In between, there will be like a week in between. And in between those weeks, it would be just a check-in with me and the director specifically. So the rollout, the midpoint, and the closing, that would be with all three of us. Principal, director, me. And the weeks in between those three would be just me and the director. All right. So we that first week, the rest of the week, all right, bet. The next week, that was only a 4-day week because MLK was that Monday, the 17th. So we have our first check in, just me and the director. And the check in was what am I messing up the calendar? Because now I'm losing my train of thought. Let me pull up the calendar. Sorry, bear with me. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So that was and that oh my gosh. I don't remember when I had this thought. So if we rolled it out January 14th, it was 3 days left in that week. And I had apologized for the whole can we make sure we meet every week as a culture team. So at some point in time, I asked about how I should balance. Because if these are my priority points to make sure that I'm doing my job, what about the other parts that I need to do my job? Like if I'm constantly being evaluated on these four buckets, what happens if there's something else in a fifth bucket? What do I do regarding support, regarding what navigating all of that stuff? Because if you tell me this what you need to work on or you're gonna get fired, I'm gonna work on what I need to do. I'm not saying that I'm not going to do the rest, but I had asked both of them, and it was like, just communicate. Let us know what you need. Let us know how we can support. Da da da. All right, bet cool. And I made it very clear. I'm not saying that I'm not going to do my job. I just need to know how to best navigate what I have to do. All right. So, since the 14th, every Sunday, I was sending emails to the director and the principal about the different scheduling conflicts. Because if you tell me my calendar needs to be updated the start of the week by 8 a.m., and I'm looking at the things that's on my calendar and I'm looking at what I need to do, because again, all of the buckets were trending green except for the GLC check ins and all that stuff. So I'm making sure I meet with those people. So I'm putting in all these scheduling conflicts. All right. Now, looking at this calendar, the MLK was on January 20th, the Monday after we rolled out the plan. So happened was the snowstorm out here in Texas on the 21st and the 22nd. So now we not at school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Now we got Thursday and Friday. Oh, let's add another layer to this. It is now mid-year meeting season. What is a mid-year meeting with? Well, a mid-year meeting is where all staff members from the top down or from the bottom to the top, they meet with their direct managers and various leaders, and they have like a check-in to see how they're being what their evaluations are looking like, how they're trending, where there's area of growth, celebration, like, "Oh, you're doing really great," and, like, what they wanna do either the remainder of the current school year, potentially next year. Like, do they wanna return? Do they wanna do this? Do they wanna do that? Boom, boom, boom. So, on the 20th, there's no school. Once they canceled school for Tuesday, I was like, "All right, bet." I was like, "But I still need to make sure my calendar is good." Then they canceled school for Wednesday. I said, "I got 2 days to meet with 4 grade level chairs. Also, I'm looking at my calendar and it's a whole lot of mid-year meetings. So I'm on the keyboard, cat a kitty cat cat. All right. I'm noticing that this. I'm noticing this. What should I do regarding this? What should I do regarding that? What should I do regarding this? What should I do regarding that? Send. I didn't get a response until 9:28 that Thursday morning. The expectation was that my calendar was up at 8 a.m. Oh, okay, but you know what? As a director or just as a person who's not on this plan, it's not necessarily a priority for you to respond by 8 a.m. the next day because you got whatever work life balance you created for yourself. And so, yeah, but I'm sorry, I'm on the plan and my livelihood, my income is on the line. I would have genuinely appreciated if you would have responded to my email maybe sooner than 9:28. But I digress. So, me being able to meet the expectation of calendar being updated by 8 a.m., not really happening. All right, bet. So mid-year meetings take precedent over my check-ins. And then all the ones that were canceled due to those 2 days that we were off, they got moved to the next week. But I still had some uh that was gonna be that Thursday and Friday. Also, it felt like January was call out season. And I'm just, you wake up every day, up this person on EPTL, up this person PTO, up this, up that. Like people don't want to be at work, they wasn't at work. And so that's another thing that I had to like balance and juggle. Like if my GLC not here, what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to meet. If this, that, and the third, how I'm supposed to. All right. So also in those 2 days, I had my first check-in, just me and the director. So on that Thursday, I had a hearing, like I told y'all, some kids was vaping in the classroom. Well, the hearing ended up no, it was a different hearing. Is it a different hearing? I can't even remember. So yeah, it was a different hearing. Okay. Yeah, so now it's the 23rd of January and I have a different hearing for a different situation. And so ask me if my director was in that hearing. The answer is no. Oh, okay. Now we know that hearing documentation and everything is a part of uh my growth plan. You would think that being able to review the documents, do this, that, and the third, you would have prioritized that, seeing as though I'm on a growth plan and you are my direct manager. You would check in to make sure I was where I needed to be. No, nope. Okay. So we on the 24th, that Friday, we're going over where I'm at so far. And she was like, yeah, so I called the hearing officer and I asked her how the hearing went. And she was like, oh, the piece of feedback that she gave me was that the previous discipline days were not coded. I said, I'm glad you said that because when I went to go code, I used the documents provided by the district and I noticed that what I was supposed to be able to click on, I didn't have it on my dashboard. But I did go and message so and so. I said, you can see in that Teams chat group that we're a part of, me reaching out and I was able to do it. Do. And she was like, yeah, I did see that. And so she's like, okay, so I'm going to highlight that yellow. All right, bet. That was January 24th. While we're still in that meeting, she then tells me, she then tells me, our midpoint is the 29th, which is that next Wednesday. And I was like, so we check in on the 24th on a Friday, and then we about to have our midpoint on the Wednesday. The next, I said, it's not a whole lot of time to really see growth or see how I'm trending. Like 3 days later, ain't nothing. She was like, yeah, I know. I'm gonna see if we can push it back. But she has her principal strategic meeting on Thursday and Friday. I said, okay. And I left it alone. So now it's Sunday, the 26th. I'm looking at my calendar, looking at what's going on in life. Got a cat, a kitty, cat on the keyboard because again, I'm booked and busy. Um, and then I get my response, of course, after 8 a.m., way after 8 a.m. And I tried to do what I could based off of the restrictions that was given to me in the in the calendaring conflicts. So let me just describe the week of the 27th. So the 27th was a Monday, normal day as usual. The 28th, I had already had pre approved PTO. And then the 29th was my midpoint. So I say, okay. So I'm looking at this calendar for the week and I'm like, I have a lot to do in what feels like no time. One of my GLCs specifically, she is her only off period is outside of my work hours. So she's off first period. My report time isn't until 10 a.m. And we have been talking about this conflict for a while because it's like, when do I meet with her? She's off first. Oh, and then it was suggested meet with her during lunch and advisory. Okay, that almost could work. However, she's supposed to be popping in and checking in with her advisories or enjoying her lunch. Also, in that same breath, I'm supporting another grade level chair for some coaching and development. So, how we really finna split this time? But okay, whatever. I'm gonna try to make it work. So the 27th, um, that's kinda like a jam-packed day. Oh, me and the middle school DOS were asking, "What is this week gonna be? What is this week gonna be?" Because mind you, we only had 2 days of school the previous week, and we were supposed to roll out this new initiative, and because we didn't meet on that Wednesday, we wasn't sure there was no school on that Wednesday, we wasn't sure, is this gonna be a staff meeting? Is this gonna be a grade level meeting? Like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And so all Monday, we don't know, whatever, whatever. Like me and her actively talking to the director, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? So I'm also now again, because one of my buckets was closing investigations. And I'm like, I can't hold off closing these investigations until after I come back from PTO. And so, y'all, I came in on my PTO and spent 4 hours trying to just make sure a lot of other buckets were done. Let me say that one more time. I came in on my PTO to make sure things on my growth plan were getting done. Now, somebody listening could be like, okay, yeah, that's you doing what you're supposed to do. But I feel like a vast majority is gonna be like, that's your time off. What you do that for? All that work and all of this will still be there. And I hear that, I see that, and parts of me felt that. But again, I am not the type to not do what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm just not. All right, bet. So coming in on the 28th, spent 4 hours. Finally, once we got clarity on the, like, it was like maybe 2, 3 o'clock when we found out what Wednesday was gonna look like. I'm also trying to draft up agendas and do all of this and do all of that because another part of the GLC feedback and coaching and development was making sure that agendas are ready 24 hours in advance. So if it's going to be GLMs on Wednesday, that would mean my agenda needed to be ready on the 28th, the day that I had PTO. And then let me just fast forward. I spent all that time trying to make sure that I knew what the teachers were going to talk about on the 29th, and they never did because it was going to be a hybrid staff meeting slash GLM, but it ended up just being all staff. So that kind of made me mad because I wasted my time and energy and was a bit nerved up trying to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and now I'm wasting my time or it's just falling to the wayside because it wasn't something that I should have been doing because it didn't end up happening. So, um, also that week, it was a leadership. So, all of the admin, there was a meeting on that morning. Now, my hours are 10 to 6. And so I asked on that Sunday, I said, hey, what do I do regarding meeting with my GLC who's off first period? And then I also stated like, "Oh, what do I do regarding this leadership meeting?" And so she had gave me the feedback like, "Oh, well, just try to meet during lunch and advisory. And yes, it would be nice if you attended the leadership meeting because it's best if you hear a lot of that information firsthand. So, you want me to come in early to be a part of the leadership meeting. You also want me to find another not so convenient time to meet with my GLC. I said, okay. So in my head, I say, we still got to do what we got to do. So I say, you know what? I'm going to go to the leadership meeting. I'm going to stay for however long until I schedule. And then the second half of that time, I'm going to go have my GLC check in because what we got to talk about needs more than just, it needs some different amount of less time where both of us could easily get distracted because we need to go support. So that's what I mentally had decided. Like, didn't communicate that, but I'm like, I'm gonna go to that meeting and then I'm gonna go have my meeting. So at eight, I don't remember the time, but it was eight some in the morning. It was like a message to all of us on the team. Hey, remember to be on time for the meeting. And so I'm still at home getting ready because I'm like, I don't have to be at work yet, so I'm not there yet, but I'll get there when it's time for the meeting. And 8:53 or 8:56 is when she messaged me directly and was like, "Hey, are you able to make it to the leadership meeting?" And I was like, "So if I was supposed to come to to this leadership meeting, you should have just told me to come to this meeting and then we work out the times on the back end." Like, in that moment, don't suggest that it would be really helpful if I went. Just be like, yes, come early, but then we'll give you this much time, or you can leave early today, or you can come even later tomorrow. Like, just own it, director. All right. So I get to the meeting and I walk in. Everybody kind of like having little sidebars. And then the person leading the meeting is like, all right, let's bring it back in five, ready to share four. And that's when I realized I say, wait, this meeting had already started. And so then I start slowly having a panic attack because now I'm late to this meeting that it was told to not be late for, and I didn't have no guidance and this, that, and the third. Come to find out the meeting started at 8:40, either 8:40 or 8:45 when they normally start at 9. So I'm sitting there, I start getting hot, I start sweating, my eyes start watering. I'm like, and then mind you, it's the 29th, so I also have my midpoint check. So now I'm even more nervous because this is going into the campus values and feedback section. And I'm looking like I'm late. I got this meeting that was supposed to happen, didn't happen. This didn't, like, I'm nerved up. So I walk over to my director. I was like, hey, can I speak to you for a second? She was like, can it wait? I say, no, it can't wait. So we go outside and I just start bawling, like slightly hyperventilating. Like, y'all, when I tell y'all I had a panic attack, I had never had a panic attack. Like, I was nervous, like, it was unreal. So I was just like, "I got my checkpoint today. I don't feel like I'm meeting my numbers. I don't feel like I had enough time to. We're supposed to be meeting. I asked if we could push it back." And she was like, "Yeah, she can't push it back." And then, I was like, "We're trying to do this. I'm trying to do that." Did like all of these different things. And so I'm nerved up. She trying to like talk me down and calm me down and just kind of like get things leveled. We go back in the room and I'm just sitting there like looking, trying to like get out of my head about um what is to come at that meeting that was at 2:30, I think it was, or that was gonna come at 2:30, should I say? And just like breathe, be present for where I am, although I'm very much like in my head. One girl sitting next to me, she didn't say nothing. She just passed me a box of tissue. And then like a few minutes later, she just rubbed my back. She was like, everything's gonna be okay. And I was just like, thank you. So I leave that meeting. I go to my office and I'm just like, we just gotta go. Like it's grind, 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 grind. And mind you, I got this midpoint looming in my head. Like, I didn't know how to not worry about where I was going to be. And that part made me even more anxious. Like, what are these numbers going to say or not numbers, but what are these colors gonna say? Because everything was either red, yellow, green. And it's like, am I where I'm supposed to be? My job is on the line. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm really trying. I'm met with this conflict, that conflict, this, like, it just felt so, huh. So we get to the check in and we're going over everything. Now, let's go back to the 24th and let's talk about how the director highlighted something as yellow. And my perception of it is like, okay, well now this week it should be green because I did what I needed to do. So the principal, so during as we going through each of the sections, she was like, yeah, and that's yellow. I was like, why is it yellow? And she was like, yeah, well, because you didn't do it. I was like, no. In last week check-in, me and the director, we talked about it, and I get it being yellow then, so it should be green now because it's done. And she was like, well, that's not how it works. And I was like, okay. So then she tried to explain it to me that it wasn't cumulative. It was where you are. I Y'all, it was still very much unclear. So she then asked me, well, how are you? What do you think about your results? I was like, I don't feel good. And it just seems like no matter what I do, I'm met with an obstacle. I even came in on yesterday on my PTO to try to get ahead and do what I needed to do. And I'm still finding myself struggling. Like, so we didn't go back and forth just yet right there, but she was like, "Yeah, your job as a DOS, it is hard. It is. And so that's why we do this, some stuff, some stuff, some stuff." And I said, "I've been on this growth plan for 7 days because you got to take out the 21st and the 22nd because there was no school. I've been on this tracker for 7 days. There are 8 more days left of this plan and I'm not trending to where I need to be. And that makes me nervous." And it sucks because I'm trying. And so she, in a very colorful way, told me I'm making excuses for not getting the results that I want to get. Now, I don't remember her exact words when she said that sentence, but I said, to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly and to clarify, you're telling me that I'm making excuses for not getting the results I want. And I said that statement like I just said now, and her response was yes. Are you serious right now? I is what I wanted to tell her. I didn't tell her that. I said, "Oh, okay." And then I say, "I'm not making excuses. We didn't have school for 2 days. Mid-year meetings took priority. The leadership team meeting took priority. One of my GLCs was out. This, that, and the third. This, and I'm making excuses." That's when she went back and started talking about my job being hard and challenging, and that's why we have this to see if there's another fit. And I was like, here we go again with my job again. And she was like, I'm not saying that you can't work here, but maybe a different role would work. Oh, okay. Now we going back and forth. Now we going back and forth. Now we going back and forth. I said, effective February 14th, 2025 will be my last day here at Insert Campus. And then it was quiet. Oh, no, even before that, I asked, could we extend the growth plan? Like move that down some because here it is, we missed some school. If I've only had it for 7, what I'm gonna do in 8 if I'm not meeting the numbers that I'm supposed to be meeting? So once I made my statement that I wasn't coming back after the 14th, it was quiet for about 5, 6 whole seconds. And if y'all ever been like if somebody ever say something and it just pin drop silence, that was a long 5 to 6 seconds. The director then comes in and was like, Hey, well, do you want to give it more time? Crying. Let me just let y'all know. By this time, I am crying because I am feeling unheard, not unvalued a little bit, and not unsupported and overwhelmed and just like a lot of different feelings. So when she asked me, "Are you sure? Do you want to give it some time?" I said yes, no, but not. I said no, yes, but not really. No, I don't want to give it some time. Yes, I want to give it some time, but not really. Because where I'm at right now, I can't. Like, I probably should think this through, but in the series of how we've been moving and things, this is it. So then the principal comes in and was like, "Yes, do you need more time? But if you do want to go through with this, then we are going to need an official email stating everything like you just said." I said, "Cool, I'll write it when I get to my office." And so then she reprints the growth plan because there was something in it in our conversation that needed to be edited or whatever. And so when she steps out, when the principal steps out, the director looks over at me and was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Like, you were gonna get it." I'm like, "No, I wasn't. Look at these. It's so crazy, y'all." This is what's more crazy. I had more green at the end of the 3 weeks, the first in the fall semester, than I had in those 7 days it's like it almost looked like there was not even a support plan prior to the growth plan. Like it looked like I regressed. And I was just like, no, I'm over here doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm not making no progress. I'm just not. And to I don't know how to change that. Like I'm asking for what I need to ask for. Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I don't know. So I make my statement. We leave it. I go back to my office. I I type up the email and I'm just sitting there. And I'm just sitting there. And so I text my friends on the side. I said, "Y'all need to come to my office urgent." So they come in my office and I'm just like, "I just quit my job." And they looking at me, mouths wide, eyes open. And they was like, "What?" I was like, "Well, not yet, because I ain't press send, but I verbally quit and now I gotta just press send." And so I'm all just like, "Whoa." And so I'm getting emotional again. My God. Once I press send, I start like breaking down because I've never quit anything in my life. I've never felt what I felt then. And it's so crazy because everything in my life has been very much strategic and planned and just like in order. And so for me to quit was it felt like I let myself down. It felt like I let the kids down. And then it was just like a little bit of embarrassment too because those who know me across the district know how I get down. Like they just know. They know that I'm a hard worker. They know that I care. They know. And so just to not feel like my direct manager and the principal don't see that, it was just like, huh. It was a lot. Um, so yeah. Now let's get to the good. Well, that was the good. So let's almost close this out. So after I quit, I was just like, all right, I ain't never quit no job, so I don't know nothing about this. I say, let me go to the employee benefits. How many days of PTO I got? Ooh, cause PTO is you lose it, use it or lose it. I got 5 days sitting in the vault. I say, ooh, child. Now, mind you, it's the 29th. It's Wednesday the 29th. I got I got 2 full weeks and 2 days left of employment. So I got 12 days. I say, Do we just cash out these full five back to back? I say, no, we can't do that. We can't do that because I care. I want to, like, I don't want to just be ghosting. Like, I want to hang out with the kids these last few. I want to make it a good time. But like History Month coming up, we got some stuff in the deck. So I'm trying to, I still I want to enjoy myself. So I finished that week, and then some was like, well, if we're not gonna use all 5 days, let's use some. We can for surely use two. They ain't finna get all because they don't cash you out for those days. Use it or lose it. They just gonna be gone. So I say, let me get two of them off of them. You can have those three. So that next week, I took off that Thursday and Friday. When I tell y'all, things just started aligning because I had been trying to schedule and reschedule and schedule and reschedule my dentist appointment. And between their calendar and my calendar, it just was never happening. They ended up having availability on February 7th. I said, bet. So things happened that didn't allow me to go on the 7th. So I had to reschedule. And so I ended up taking off that Monday, the 10th. And I was like, well, you got the days, so let's do it. So I ended up being off 3 days in a row. So now I got two more days. So now I'm at work and I'm like, so I go to work on the 11th and I'm like, I got two more days. I don't know. And I'm just like, use it. So I was like, hey y'all, let's talk. I'm talking to the campus operations director and I'm talking to my director. I was like, I got 2 more days of PTO. I kind of want to use them. What days can I use them? So she was like, well, you can't take more than 3 days. Oh, I need somebody in this district to tell me about this rule that I'm about to drop. So everybody who listen to everybody who within the district, y'all let me know. Like hit me up direct. Don't come through the comments because I don't want to mess up y'all situation, okay? Is there a rule in the employee handbook that says you cannot take off more than 3 consecutive days? Because this is a new rule that was rolled out this year. Because it's news to me. Now, it could be in the handbook, and I just ain't read the handbook in a while. But I ain't never heard you can't take off more than 3 consecutive days. So Shorty told me I couldn't take off more than 3 consecutive days. And then there was the Friday was capped or the 13th. I don't know what day was capped, but the only day I could take off was Wednesday the 12th. So I was off the 10th. I went to work on the 11th. I took off again on the 12th. And then I went to work on the 13th and the 14th. I kind of wanted to use that last day, but I was like, whatever, they can have it. And I also wanted to spend time with the kids because those last 2 weeks, like once I made an announcement to the kids, and I made like a video announcement that got played in the morning announcements, and it was just like, hey guys, it's me. I've enjoyed working here, but February 14th gonna be my last day. And once students was there and word started spreading, like some students would come up to me and was like, "Why you leaving? What you doing next? Why you leaving? Why you leaving?" And so it was just like I wanted to still enjoy those days with kids. And so I wasn't too pressed that I didn't use that last day, but those are my hours. Those are my PTO days and I did work hard for them because yeah. So then that was essentially it, guys. Like those last 2 weeks were mixed feelings because it's like I don't know. I really just don't know. But I hope you've enjoyed part 2. Um, life lately, like since, cause now we are. How long I've been not working? 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. It's been cool. Like a lot of things have been aligning for me. Like some people have reached out to me directly, and I just want to share what one person said because Shorty almost had me crying. So I found out sometime in between the last week's episode and today, um, she was like, Child, the podcast is traveling. And she was telling me how people across the district. And then I was like, wow. And so she said, the very people that tried to take your livelihood away are birthing your new one, helping you grow your platform. And I was like, wow. Like, I knew that I wanted to grow this podcast. I knew that I wanted to grow in content creation. And the podcast been up for 11 months now. My anniversary is April 1st. And so I had been trying to do this and still do my job. But as y'all can kind of heard, it's real challenging to do a very emotionally and mentally taxing job and still give quality episodes to you all. And so I had been, and it's so crazy, the power of the tongue. Oh my gosh. It was so crazy because the day before I quit my job, I was talking to friends and I was like, they better hope I don't quit. And literally the next day. And it's just wild. Like I really have to be mindful, or I really need to even pay more attention when I'm saying something repeatedly. Like for me to have been uncomfortable since September or October, and then the universe continue to show me discomfort and like, look, okay, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable for you to make a decision because I need you to know that this ain't what I got planned for you. And this ain't what you want no more neither. And so I'm gonna kind of stop because I feel like I want to do an episode just about like dreams and goals because there are so many of us who get stuck on our hamster wheel of comfort. Like there are so many people in this world that are talented. There are so many people in this world who have aspirations of something. And the comfort of having traditional income, I get it. I support it because even right now, as I do this full time, I'm over here like, I done already got my last check. So what I got is what I got. And I'm over here making it enough. But like, you don't get to the next point in your life or that next step until you really step out on faith, until you do more. Like the uh the middle class bracket to the upper class, that's a big jump. And that's just like going from good to great. Like there are so many people who are good, but that window from good to great is so big and it requires so much more to go from good to great. And the way I feel about my worth and my value and my desire for success, I have to do something I've never done. I'm going to end it here because I know I got another episode that I'm finna just go straight into recording. So y'all going to get 2 episodes this week. You're going to get one today and you're going to get one on Thursday. As always, it's been a pleasure wishing you love, light, happiness, and everything in between. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend to tell a friend. Bear With Me podcast. Until next time.